Welcome into our severe weather discussion here for the noon hour. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky. We have a lot to talk about and also get you some of the most up-to-date information in terms of what's going on with our severe weather threat for today. So we have a weather impact alert that has been well established now for several days. We first launched that on Sunday, and here we are. The day has arrived. So I want to show you what's going on right now in terms of where this storm system is, what's going on with the dynamics, and how this is all going to come together. So what you're seeing right now, just before the noon hour, is a line of showers and some scattered thunderstorms. Now, this is not the main event that's going to be coming in here to cause the damaging wind. That is actually going to develop a little bit further southwest later this afternoon. What this is, though, is it's showing just how much lift into the atmosphere this specific storm currently has associated with it. So this band here at its current speed, which is moving at a very, very fast clip, again, several hundred miles away, more than 300 miles away. But we can actually put a little bit of a tracker on here, and I'll be able to tell you when it will likely be arriving. So let me put the speed in here, and then we're going to go ahead and show you what the ETA would be. Again, this is just kind of a preview, if you will, line of showers and thunderstorms that'll be coming through. So let me put a new tracker on that. And you can see right about 4 o'clock or so, 4 to 5 as it gets here in the Quad Cities. So this is not the main event. Again, you may see this pop up on your radar here a little bit later this afternoon. So we do have a chance of seeing some showers and some thunderstorms at that time, but the main event is still expected to be later. So just wanted to show you that on the radar and on the satellite picture. Right now, my goodness, is it warm. We are indeed headed for breaking a new record for today. The record is 78 degrees. And here we are, not even the warmest part of the day, and it is currently 76 degrees outside. The humidity is there too. The dew points are currently in the 50s. The million-dollar question as we get into this evening is, can we keep those dew points in the 50s? That's going to be our key to getting that tornado potential in here for some of our hometowns as we get into this evening. So very warm, very windy as well. I'm going to get to that in a second, that severe weather threat, but I did want to highlight really quickly that we are under a wind advisory, and that starts an hour from now, and that will go until 1 o'clock tomorrow morning. So a very long wind advisory, but wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour will certainly be likely both before and after the storms arrive this evening. We're also under a red flag warning, and that goes until 10 o'clock tonight. That's been extended by 2 more hours. It was 8, now it goes until 10. Once the front moves through, that threat of any fires getting out of control will quickly end, but no burning today. We already saw a few fires get out of hand yesterday. Let's not do that again today because the conditions are so much worse compared to what we had yesterday. I'm going to add a couple more things to my show here because we just got out of the 11. But as we do, let's go to our weather impact alert, and I'll be able to show you the details of that. So we've honed this in on that 6 to 11 o'clock time frame because that's when the storms are expected to arrive. Severe storms containing very strong winds and, yes, a few tornadoes. The need will be to make sure you have your favorite weather app, hopefully the Storm Track 8 app, loaded on your phone, ready to go and close by, and also that you have the streaming app on your smart TV. That would be a very nice thing to have, especially because we're going to do extended storm coverage with that all evening long. So starting at 6:30, whether the storms are in the area or not, our storm coverage will begin and tracking will begin promptly at 6:30 on the 8+ app, and then we will break in on air as soon as life-threatening weather impacts our hometowns as it gets a little bit closer. All right, so here's the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center. This is as of 11:30. Our next update will come in from them at 3 o'clock. And the National Weather Service in the Quad Cities is going to be launching a special weather balloon at 3:30. And we have one of our reporters, I believe, that's going to be out doing that story for us today. That'll be an interesting challenge. 50-mile-an-hour winds and a weather balloon launch. It's probably going to take at least 2 people to do that. But that weather balloon data, as it comes in later this afternoon, is going to help us focus our attention on where we're going to be seeing the strongest winds and where likely some of the tornadoes are going to drop too. But no change for the 11:30 outlook. Everything remains the same. It is status quo. We have the immediate Quad City metro area under that that 4 to 5 risk. I'll zoom in a little bit closer. Really, don't pay attention to the sharpness of the line. Anyone in and around that 4 out of 5 risk is essentially under the same risk, if you will. That's a gradual change. So that 4 out of 5, easily including Iowa City, all of the Quad Cities metro. Yes, it does include Port Byron. And yes, it does include Milan, Silvis, Geneseo, Aledo, Little York, Mediapolis, all the way down to Burlington, Roseville, Monmouth, Macomb, Galesburg, Kewaunee. Princeton is included in this as well. And it goes all the way down to just south of LaSalle, Peru, and down to Peoria. So that's the 4 out of 5 risk. That's where we believe not only do you have the opportunity to see the strongest wind gusts that the Storm Prediction Center is saying now could be between 80 to 100 miles an hour, but it's also where you could see the stronger tornado potential. And notice that hasn't changed either. It's really the same as yesterday. It's for areas along and south of Interstate 80. That's where 1 or 2 of those isolated tornadoes could get a little bit stronger. And we're talking EF2 or greater in intensity. And I'll show you what that means here coming up in just a moment. What does the tornado potential today ride on? What are we going to be tracking to see where that's going to be realized? Well, we need dew points of about 55 degrees or warmer to get that tornado potential to tick up a little bit. And you can see some of our hometowns come close. As the line comes in, the main line between 7 and 10 this evening, you can see there are some of us that get close to 55. None of us really reach it. However, the warmer that dew point, the higher that dew point, the more likely it is that you're going to see a quick spin-up tornado potentially develop in that same corridor. So moisture has been the limiting factor right now, limiting a more widespread, substantial tornado threat. But if we manage to sneak in a little bit more moisture here at the last minute, the tornado threat could indeed increase as we go into this evening. So that is something we're going to be tracking very, very closely. Let's go into the damaging wind zones. And I'll go ahead and highlight those here. There you see those 70-mile-per-hour gusts are likely. And again, the Storm Prediction Center indicating 80 to 100-mile-per-hour gusts will be possible in the Plum area, which is the same area that's in that 4 out of 5 risk that I just showed you moments ago. Putting this all in a summary so we can get all of the threats that were expected on one graphic here. We can see the timing 6 to 11. We can see where, which is the entire Quad Cities region. And we can see the what. So a 3 out of 5 for tornadoes, 1 or 2 of those could be strong. A 4 out of 5 for the damaging wind threat, including gusts up to, if not exceeding, 80 miles an hour. And then also the hail threat, which we're not really concerned about right now. I think that's really the lowest threat of the things we should be worried about. But if one of those storms gets strong enough, perhaps some quarter-sized hail. But when the storms are moving as fast as they're going to be moving through here on the order of about 50 to 60, perhaps as high as 70 miles an hour, they don't have a lot of time to produce much in the way of hail. Why are we seeing the strong wind threat? And why are we seeing strong storms after dark? A lot of you are asking, well, don't we have to get the daytime heating and then we get the storms with the heating? The case with this is no. The winds are strong enough in the atmosphere today that is overriding the need for any significant warmth or storm energy. It's all about the wind that's driving these storms. And look at how fast those winds are as you go up into the atmosphere. Reminder, storms can reach 50 to 60,000 feet tall all throughout that column. If you look at the winds in the lower half of that, from 10,000 to 18,000 feet, you've got these wind gusts of about 90 miles an hour. And some of those stronger storms can grab onto those wind speeds and bring them right down here to the ground. So that's why we're concerned about wind being the highest threat and also the most widespread threat. It's not going to be little isolated areas of damage. This could potentially be widespread damage to power lines and other infrastructure as this comes through. Let's go to Future Track. This is our in-house model that I'm going to be showing you. So it's not picking up right now that band of potential scattered showers, maybe isolated thunderstorms before the main event. Again, that band could move through a little bit earlier. We're talking between 3 and 6. But the main event, regardless of what happens with that earlier activity, is still on track to arrive this evening right after 7 o'clock. So we'll slowly move through Future Track so you can get a good idea of this. And I'm going to have, if Brandy could so graciously drop the lower third so that we can see this map in full. Thank you, Brandy. Oh, that's okay. Thank you for doing that, because we want to make sure that Macomb can see this, Burlington, and everyone else here. There you see how it's moving along. And the other thing I want you to pay attention to is we can get some hints in terms of the storm structure. You see this bowing or this bending in the radar presentation. That is what's telling us there's definitely some high wind potential with this. And we're going to see that continue throughout this whole line. In fact, as the line gets here, it's still intensifying, because the jet stream is intensifying those wind speeds. So this is not going to weaken once it hits the river. It will continue on its current trajectory and current path coming in as we get close to the 9 o'clock hour here in the Quad Cities. I still think metro timing is about 8 to 10 on average, but there you see it continuing to march on. We continue to see these Boeing segments, not just to the north, but also to the south. The Boeing segments, the signatures are still there. And also that quick spin-up tornado on the leading edge of this, we can't rule it out either. Moves through Princeton between 9, 10 o'clock, perhaps as late as 11, and then everyone is in the clear once we hit just before midnight. So this is going to be kind of a long night ahead of us. I also don't like the fact, and we never like the fact when something like this is coming in after dark, because it's hard to see anything that's going on. So if there is a quick spin-up tornado, we're really going to be relying on the few spotters that are brave enough to go out and about, and also on radar data to tell us where those quick spin-up tornadoes are at. Again, you're not going to have much time to take action either, because these storms are moving quickly. So if a warning gets issued, that means you need to move immediately. Don't go outside and try to see this. You're not going to be able to in the dark. And then that's not going to leave you much time to react to get to the place that you need to be for shelter. So there's your timing: 6 to 7 to the west of the Quad Cities, 7 to 8 for our western hometowns, and then you've got 8 to 10 for us here in the metro. And then you see we got 10 to 11 as we go east of the Quad Cities for the main event. Again, there could be a little bit of a precursor to this, or an earlier round of showers and thunderstorms coming through later this afternoon, but the main event will indeed be this evening. One more thing, and then I'll take a few of your questions here, and then it's time for me to go home and get a nap, because I am going to be coming back in for more coverage tonight. Joining Chief Meteorologist James Zahara, and our weather anchor Peter Warner will be here as well. Just a brief recap, watch versus warning. Watch means we have all of the ingredients in place, ready to go to make something. For example, here we're making cupcakes. So we've got our eggs, we've got our flour, we've got all of our utensils on the counter ready to go. A warning means that the muffin has been made, and it is existing, and it's ongoing right now in its current form. In this case, we're talking tornadoes and, of course, severe thunderstorms. But here's the schedule really for the rest of today. So we've had our 11:30 update from the Storm Prediction Center. That's done. We are at noon right now, so we're doing our severe storm discussion. We'll conclude here in just a little bit, and then another one will take place with Chief Meteorologist James Zahara. That will also be at 2:30. And then at 3 o'clock, we'll get another update from the Storm Prediction Center, see if there's any changes to the storm zones and wind speeds then. Starting at 6 o'clock, we expect the storms to begin developing well west of the Quad Cities. And at 6:30, that will begin our live coverage as we begin tracking in the main event on the A+ app. And then when life-threatening storms reach our hometowns and we start getting placed under warnings, we will go on air and cut into programming for our regular folks that are watching on cable, satellite, and antenna. But you will again get more coverage on the A+ app leading up to the event, and likely after the main event has passed, especially if it begins weakening as it goes well east of the Quad Cities. So I want to encourage everyone, if you have not already on your smart TV, download the A+ app. Again, you're going to get bonus coverage there. Think of it as bonus coverage. Our protocol does not change when it comes to the on-air coverage. Anytime a tornado warning is in place, we will remain on the air until the threat is over. And the same thing goes for life-threatening winds with thunderstorms. We will remain on the air until the threat is over in our region. So hopefully that explains a lot of what's going on, a lot of the ingredients that we're going to be looking for again today. If you have a quick question, you can go ahead and throw it in the chat. I want to give a hat tip to our digital team, including Alec behind the scenes, who's likely kind of funneling in all these questions for us to make sure we can get all of these answered for you. Let's start with, I believe it's Ellie from Woodhull asking, are downdrafts more important for a tornado to form or updrafts, and how does that work exactly? So for tornado formation, it's a combination of both. Every time we have a storm that forms, you do get a spinning action within that storm. However, that spinning action is horizontal. It takes wind shear, which we've got today, to turn that horizontal action into something vertical to get an actual tornado. And the reason it's easier with those higher dew points that I mentioned, that more moisture, when you have higher dew points that are closer to 55 degrees compared to these lower dew points to the north, a higher dew point means the bottom of that cloud can get closer to the ground. So that's why the tornado threat increases when you've got more moisture. When you've got really dry air, like dew points in the 40s, the bottom of that cloud is much higher off the ground, and it's harder for that circulation to make contact with the ground to create a tornado. So that is why the dew point number and value is going to be very critical into our literal hour-by-hour forecasting as we go into this afternoon. Penny from Matherville asking, how should I get 4 dogs and 3 cats into a safe space? It's best to have their carriers if you can. That's your best course of action because you want to get them into a place of safety as well. The best place, of course, is a basement. If you do not have a basement, if that is not available to you, an interior room is going to be your next best bet. We can go over that really quickly because we have that nice fancy graphic that shows you all the good and the bad places to go in terms of sheltering. So basement is best. If you don't have that, you want an interior room that preferably does not have a window or a wall that touches the outside of the home. If it does, that's okay. That just means you need to give you something for coverage, and whether it be a mattress or a heavy blanket. So as that glass shatters, you have something to cover you as the glass comes in. So lowest level is best. Stay away from the garage too. The garage door is the first thing that usually goes in the event of very strong winds or a tornado. And once the garage door goes, that makes your house even more vulnerable. The roof likely follows after that. So lowest level, that is exactly what we need to be doing in terms of that. Jerry asks, what is the coldest temperature of hail? That's an interesting question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. That'd make a good Ask Andrew question. But hail, of course, is ice, so it has to be below freezing at 32. I'll see if I can dig some information on that. I'm kind of curious about that myself. Are there more colder hailstones? Does that impact the size? Great question. I'm going to make that an Ask Andrew question that we can do next week. Justin's asking about Alexis, looking time-wise. I still think for Alexis, we're between about 8 and 10 in terms of that timing. That hasn't really changed. We could again see that little preview system come through a little bit earlier than that from 3 to 6, but the main event is still expected to be right here down the heart of the Quad Cities region between 8 and 10 o'clock this evening. Let's see here. Yep, we got the contractors in the chat. I see that. There's going to be a lot of those going door to door probably. Amanda and Silvis asks, my mother has an interior bathroom, but it has a skylight and glass blocks, which should be safer outside of the bathroom with all the doors shut. If it is an interior bathroom that has windows, if you can find a closet, that's honestly better. But if you can't, if there's not enough room and you need to use the bathroom, just cover yourself up with a heavy blanket. You want something to protect you from the flying glass and any other sharp falling debris. John is wondering, do tornadoes only move downhill from the highest point? They do not. The terrain really doesn't influence where a tornado moves. It's kind of the same myth as, does the Mississippi River stop tornadoes? No, it does not. In fact, last year we had a couple tornadoes cross the Mississippi River. Didn't dissipate them at all, but that's a really good question. Let's see. Pam, yep, you'll be safe in the basement. You'll want to be in the southwest corner. Storm movement today is going to be southwest to northeast, so anytime that happens and you're going into a basement, you want to be in the corner where the storms are coming from, because as the debris flies, it's moving, of course, to the northeast. You don't want to be in the northeast corner where all the debris is going to be flying into. You want to be in the southwest corner where all the debris is coming from. So southwest corner of the basement here. Tyler asking, when should we expect a watch to be issued for the Quad Cities? I would expect a watch no later than 6 o'clock this evening, if not earlier. Amy's asking, how do you get the A Plus app? You can get the A Plus app on your smart TV if you have an Amazon Fire Stick, streaming stick, or if you have an Amazon Fire TV. We also have the app available for Roku TVs and the Roku Stick, and we also have the app available for Apple TV sticks, that little attachment there. We are working on more. There are more platforms coming in the not-so-distant future. So if you don't have any of those devices yet, no worries. If you don't want to wait, you can go out to your favorite electronics store, grab an Amazon Fire Stick. That's probably honestly the cheapest of all of them, and get the News 8 Plus app that way too. I think it's about 20 bucks or so to get that on a good day. Let's see what else we have. Billy is asking, is it possible that the outflow boundaries from the first round could enhance our severe risk? I don't think so. I don't see that being the case right now. Speaking of outflow boundaries, we're going to be watching the radar this evening. If we get an outflow boundary or a rush of cool air, rain-cooled air that gets way ahead of the main line of storms, that could decrease the severe threat a little bit as that line moves through. Again, that's something we kind of have to wait and see if it unfolds here. Russell from Muscatine asking, is it better to leave the windows open or closed during these storms with high winds? Leave them closed. That's another myth as tornadoes move through. Should you go around and open the windows because of the pressure difference? Don't bother. The tornado is going to do it for you. It's going to break your windows anyway. Let's see. We have Justin saying thank you. You're welcome, Justin. Allison Mills. Hello, Allison is watching. My good friend Julie is watching. Natalie's asking, do you see the storms intensifying more? Not right now. I do not see that being the case. We're kind of holding steady as of the latest data and as of the latest updates. So no uptick in intensity right now, no downtick. We're holding steady from what the data looked like so far for this morning. And it looks like that we are caught up with all of the questions. Excellent. Good 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to run home. I'm going to get some sleep, get with Mr. Cooper. Marcus is with me today as well, so at least Cooper's not going to be by himself in this storm event. Very thankful for that, poor guy. But yeah, going to catch a quick cat nap, get Cooper a walk, enjoy some of these 80-degree temperatures, and then be right back here with Chief Meteorologist James Zahara and Peter Warner, and we will be tracking these storms as they come through hour by hour. I want to thank you for joining me for this update. James will take over at 2:30 with another update right here, the same place on the 8+ app and also our social channels. Stay safe, Quad Cities. I will see you later this evening.